Pixar's new movie Lightyear is out. Is this movie any good? Should you spend money in a theater on it? Let me give you my opinion and judgment on that coming up next. So Lightyear is the first standalone movie about Buzz Lightyear. At the beginning of the movie, we're told that this is Andy in the movie Toy Story, the original Toy Story, Andy's favorite movie, and that's how you get the Buzz Lightyear toys that you see in the Toy Story movie from this very movie. Lightyear is a science fiction mashup of a great number of stories, at least 3 stories in its 3-act script, and you get Buzz Lightyear piloting a colonization ship at the beginning of the movie. He tries to do it all himself, but fails, and thus the ship crashes on a planet. The people on the ship have to build a whole spaceport so that they can hopefully get off the planet one day. It's a massive effort. Buzz has to live with his mistakes, and so he's doing a routine trip into space, trying to do this hyperspace jump, and he keeps failing. Every time he fails, 4 years passes on the planet. It's sort of like the effect in Interstellar, if you've seen that Christopher Nolan movie. I think this movie's quoting that movie. Every time Buzz goes back to the planet, people on the planet age 4 years. His best friend, Commander Hawthorne, he watches age 4 years at a time. And the first half hour of this movie is about Buzz dealing with his initial mistake of piloting the ship himself and crashing it, and then trying to get people off the planet but failing, and then watching everybody age. It's a really heartfelt 30 minutes, first 30 minutes that quotes, I think it alludes to the movie Up, maybe Inside Out. It's like that, the teenage Pixar movies that people love that are more pretty serious in tone. But then there's a second act and then the third act that is a lot more pulp science fiction-y. By the second act, Buzz goes back to the planet and things have changed so much that robot aliens have come and attacked the colony, who have tried to wall themselves off with a big red force field, but the robot aliens are attacking, so Buzz has to help take out the robot aliens, and a lot of action ensues, and the movie changes tones a lot, although it tries to maintain some of those Up and Inside Out tones throughout the movie in parts, yet there's a lot of pulp action stuff that probably is good for a little boy like Andy, but maybe less so for viewers who want Up. There's a third story involved, but I won't say what that is, except we do find out who Zurg is, the robot alien who we see in the opening of Toy Story 2, one of my favorite animated movies. Now, I call this movie a mashup. The reason I do is in classic science fiction, writers in the 40s, 50s, 60s, they would take short stories, and they would take another short story that they liked, and sort of put them together, and then may write a third or fourth part to it, and they would have a novel out of that. So novels like Flowers for Algernon or the I, Robot stories by Asimov or Canticle for Leibowitz, they are originally mashups. They're originally short stories that were then taken and then blended together to create whole novels. That's what this movie feels like to me. It feels like 2 or 3 screenplays sort of mashed together with somebody editing them together to try to thread different themes through and different ideas. One of those themes is Buzz needs to learn to deal with rookies, soldiers who are pathetic or have no training, and he'd like to do it all himself. The second thread that's run through here is Buzz needs to deal with his mistakes, and which cause grief and hardship, but may actually have caused good for a number of people. He just doesn't realize it. And yet you do get the sort of heartfelt opening 30 minutes in which you're going to have to explain to small children what time dilation is, because it might be confusing. But then the robot alien thing kicks in later, and then the Zurg thing kicks in the third act. So this is a really diverse movie in terms of its tones, who it might be for, its ideas, and so on. I wasn't overawed by the animation in this. None of the characters really stood out to me, although there's a cute robot cat in here named Socks. A little weird, because sometimes they liken him to the Terminators, or weird robots that are kind of creepy, but most of the time he's a big-eyed cat who is cute and adorable, and yet he's a robot. I am not sure anybody will take a liking to any of the characters in this movie. They really love them and beloved them. There's so many great characters in WALL-E and in Ratatouille, maybe Up, maybe Inside Out. But yet, this movie, I don't think the characters are that interesting overall. That's not my read on it. I'm fine with this movie because I really like science fiction. I detected a number of story elements that reminded me of classic golden age science fiction. There's a lot of interesting ideas in here in terms of the storylines, the mashed up together storylines. People who won't like science fiction, though, you got to deal with pulpy science fiction action, and it might annoy you. I would give this 3 stars. It might be 2.5. I don't know. It's an average movie to me, maybe a little bit better than average. It's okay. It's passable. It's entertaining. I don't recommend going to see this in a theater. Recently, with inflation, prices going up, theater tickets are $10-15 in certain places, and you can get a subscription to a streaming service. Wait 6 months. This movie will be out on a streaming service, and then you get a whole month of a streaming service for the same price of just one ticket. I wouldn't rush out and take my whole family to this. That would break my bank account. So only special movies do that. This movie is in the long line of science fiction movies that you've seen: 2001: A Space Odyssey, Star Wars, I mentioned Interstellar, Terminator, about 10 others that you will recognize very quickly. It is a mashup of not just storylines, but other science fiction films, which is okay, but it's just an okay movie. That's my judgment on it. Now, what do you think about Lightyear? Did you like it? What did you think about it? How do you compare it to other films, other Pixar films, and so on? Let us know in the comments. Please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day. Another thing to note is I missed Tim Allen's voice here. Tim Allen has been the voice of Buzz Lightyear for forever, almost 30 years. And they have Chris Evans doing the voice. I actually just like Tim Allen's voice a little bit better. I think there's more character to his voice, or at least I associate Buzz Lightyear with his voice. I have no clue why Mr. Allen was not included in this movie. But voice acting is a tough job, and it's different from acting, so it's really hard to get a good voice actor.